Oh, it is 11 a.m. here in London. It's 3 p.m. in Islamabad. I'm Monita Rajpal. This is World One. Also, he has been accused of using his media empire to manipulate politicians for his own gain. Right now, Rupert Murdoch is facing a grilling in London about his close ties with government ministers. At the heart of the issue, one question: has the News Corp chairman become too powerful? And has his company been allowed to ride roughshod over rules and regulations? It is a question with decades of history leading up to it. Newly released papers show Murdoch held secret meetings with Margaret Thatcher in 1981 about his bid to take over the Times of London. Inquiry at London's Royal Courts of Justice, and listen in.
As though that was the motive.
Rupert Murdoch's appearance at the press ethics inquiry comes just a day after his son James gave evidence. He was questioned closely about the conduct of government ministers during News Corp's attempt to take full control of B-Sky-B, the British pay TV company. So how does his father's performance compare? Dan Rivers has been following the story. He joins us now live from the Royal Courts of Justice. Dan.
Yeah, it was at times sort of halting and monosyllabic and slightly taciturn, but...
Thank you, Dan Rivers there at the Royal Courts of Justice here in London. We want to see what the UK newspapers are saying about this. From The Independent, there's this headline: the start of the last act. Rupert Murdoch returns to the Leveson inquiry today, and it's a comment piece that says there is something undeniably epic about the reworking of the time-honoured immorality tale in which the once mighty father is brought low by misjudging his issue. This inquiry is about systematically and exhaustively humiliating Rupert Murdoch and his minions, partly for national catharsis, but primarily to obliterate any possibility that he or his successors will re-establish poisonous dominion over the political system. And as an opinion piece in The Guardian headlined, "We could almost hear Whitehall panicking." It goes on to say, even as Jay led Murdoch through News International's contacts with Cameron, the room remained almost silent. The real drama was taking place a mile or two to the west. If one listened very hard, one could just hear the sound of panicked mobile phones starting to ring in Whitehall. Of course, Whitehall being the political power here in the UK. Lastly, the Daily Mail has this headline: Mr. Hunt, B-Sky-B, and a grim day for integrity. It's an opinion piece that says the PM became too close to the Murdochs, and yesterday they wreaked what many will see as a terrible revenge for the way they were cast adrift by ministers once the hacking scandal erupted. The public's already battered trust in the integrity of our political class has suffered yet another shuddering blow. And you can read analysis of Rupert Murdoch's testimony today. Peter Jukes joins us. He's a journalist, screenwriter, and author of Bad Press: Fall of the House of Murdoch. Peter, thank you very much for being with us. So there have been a lot of questions about his relationships with politicians, leading politicians in his company, but of course how powerful he is over them.
Yeah, I mean, this is if you have that kind of media power, 40% of the...
All right, we'll of course have more from you a little bit later on. Peter, thank you so much for that. You are watching World One live from London. Pakistan says it has test-fired a ballistic missile that is capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. A military commander said the medium-range missile flew successfully and came down as planned in the sea. Only last week, India, Pakistan's neighbor and rival, test-fired a long-range missile of its own. CNN's Reza Syed joins us now live from the Pakistani capital, Islamabad, with more on that. Reza. The African Union says Sudan and South Sudan have 90 days to end their ongoing bitter fighting or face, quote, appropriate measures from the AU. The Union has been trying to broker a peace agreement between the two sides, but this is World One live from London. On track for a presidential showdown. The UK is officially in economic recession. That's according to figures released today. The latest GDP figure just released a few minutes ago shows that in the first quarter of 2012, Britain's economy shrank 0.2%, and that follows a contraction of 0.3% in the previous quarter. And those two consecutive quarters of shrinkage technically constitute a recession. Well, the economy was U.S. presidential hopeful Mitt Romney's focus in his victory speech after a clean sweep of primary elections in 5 states on Tuesday. But since he's the only real contender left in the Republican race, he has presumed to be. Paul, thank you very much for that. Yeah, Paul Steinhauser there in Washington. Now, while Mitt Romney vows to take the White House from Barack Obama, the U.S. president is on a tour of U.S. universities. And in a big push for the youth vote, he showed up on a U.S. TV show that's got a big following among young people. Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Take a look at this.
What we said is simple.
That he can sing, we also know he can slow jam. Certainly one way of getting the message across. Now, another hot political topic in the U.S. is Arizona's immigration law, and today it goes before the Supreme Court. The 2-year-old law has drawn widespread protest. Critics say it promotes discrimination and racial profiling. Well, Kate, thank you so much. Thanks. Kate Baldwin there in Washington. You are watching World One live from London. Iran says it has test-fired a ballistic missile that is capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. A military commander said the medium-range missile flew successfully and came down as planned in the sea. Unacceptable, reprehensible, bleak. International peace envoy Kofi Annan gave a gloomy assessment of the Syrian crisis before the UN Security Council. CNN can't verify when or where these pictures were taken. The United Nations Department of Peacekeeping Operations says 30 monitors will be in Syria by Monday and 100 observers within a month. CNN's Arwa Damon is following developments from neighboring Beirut in Lebanon. Arwa. Well, they were regarded as the best football team on the planet and favourites to defend their European Champions League title, but Barcelona have been knocked out of the competition by Chelsea. Alex Thomas is here to explain. ¿Qué pasa? What happened?
Exactly. Yeah, just 2 months ago, Chelsea, we all remember, were in disarray and facing Champions League elimination after losing to Napoli 3-1. Now, under a temporary coach, the Blues have completed an astonishing turnaround and have shocked the football world by beating reigning European champions Barcelona in the semi-finals. Remarkable result after people were watching everywhere. Monita.
Ooh, exciting.
Yes.
All right, Alex, thank you very much. You're watching World One live from London. Children grow up fast. Alex, you know that you've got a little girl, but when we come back, we'll show you how one man has figured out how to slow them down. Let's take a look at what's trending on social media right now. At number 3, the sun is setting on the Empire State Building's view from the top. The city's tallest building will be overtaken by the One World Trade Center as early as next week. The new addition is being built on the site of the fallen Twin Towers and will top out at 104 floors when it's completed. At number 2, a case of mad cow disease in California has sent Google searches on the disease soaring. It's only the 4th animal to be infected since 2003, but has many people worried about beef supplies in the United States. Officials say the risk to humans is extremely low. And at number 1, the most talked about man on the web is Rupert Murdoch. He's testifying in London as part of an inquiry into press ethics. He's answering questions about his relationship with key British politicians after new links were revealed in his son's testimony on Tuesday, and he's still continuing that testimony right now. The weather in Europe is certainly not tugging at anything. It continues to be unseasonably cold and wet as we approach the end of April. And let's go to our meteorologist, Mari Ramos, at the World Weather Center with details on that. Well, they do say April showers and all.
April showers. Yeah, what about all this wind, though? There's not going to be any flowers around left.
King indeed. All right, Mari, thank you very much. You are watching World One live from London. I'm Monita Rajpal. Our coverage of Rupert Murdoch's testimony at the Leveson inquiry continues as we speak right now. Right now, they're asking him about the influence that he's had on politicians and whether he backed certain candidates to influence and to profit his business. We'll continue our coverage right here on CNN.